Story time about how I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me for 3 months straight at his new job. So whenever all this happened, I was a senior in high school and my boyfriend had just graduated. Oh, if I'm looking over here, it's because my mirror's over here because I actually want to see what I'm doing. And we were both living at his mom's because I had some family stuff going on at the time, so I was like staying there during the summer. Well, my boyfriend had to quit his job because they were shutting down and he had worked there for over 3 years. So he started looking for a new job and he found one that was literally 3 minutes down the street from his mom's house. And it was a sports bra and grill, so he started working there. Well, after working there for I think about a month, his brother had came home from jail. And his brother was looking for a job at the time whenever he got out of jail, so my boyfriend of course was like, hey, why don't you come work with me? And his brother was all for it, you know, he was excited to be working with his brother. Well, I want to say about 2 weeks after his brother went to work with him, he came home the one night and he had told me about this one girl who had given him her phone number, and he took it out of his pocket and it was a piece of paper with her phone number on it. So my boyfriend and I had had problems in the past with like trust issues and stuff like that, but at this time I had kind of gotten over it because it happened a long time ago when we first started dating. So whenever this happened, my trust issues started to creep back in, you know, because I started thinking, well, why did she feel comfortable enough giving you her phone number to talk about her problems with you? Because that's the reason why she apparently gave him her phone number, was so that way they could talk about her problems. Sis, get a therapist. There is no reason for that. Anyways, so of course this pisses me off. I tell him to throw the phone number away, and I asked him what the girl's name was, and he said her name was Sadie. And of course after that, Sadie was #1 on my hit list. Just kidding. Well, after that, he starts going into work really early and staying very late. And whenever I had talked with him about it, he was always blaming it on somebody else or something else. He would be like, well, I had to close tonight because nobody else wanted to stay and close. Somebody didn't do their job right tonight, so I had to stay and do their job. And it was just really weird because, you know, you would expect that to happen maybe like not so often, but it was literally happening every single day that he had work. So yeah, at that point things were just getting very weird and it was making me question a lot of things. Well, then the next red flag that happened that I should have noticed was that he started having issues with me dropping him off and picking him up from work. Because I had always dropped him off and picked him up at work. For some reason, he like started having an issue with it. He was like, no, he was like, I can do it myself, like, you know, you don't need to do that. And so of course that also was weirding me out because that's weird. Why are you just gonna start having a problem with me picking you up and dropping you off at work? And he was the one with the car, so that meant that I was literally stuck at his parents' house all day and I didn't have a car. Well, the one day I remember I had begged him to use the car because I had some errands to run that day, and he let me use the car. So like I said, he let me drop him off and used the car that day. Well, when I went to pick him up that night, there were these 3 girls sitting outside, and there was one specifically that was giving me an absolute death stare. You would have thought that I literally like screwed her boyfriend. Yeah, no, but she was just like giving me a really nasty look, and I had no idea why, but I just kind of ignored it. Well, a few days after that, my boyfriend and his brother got into this huge argument because my boyfriend had told me that his brother was flirting with girls at work. And at the time, his brother's girlfriend was like one of my best friends. Love her, by the way. So what did I do? Of course I told her. Like, why am I not going to tell her? So I went and told her. So she was flipping out on her boyfriend. And can I just say something? I don't think that he was flirting with other girls at work. I really think that it was just a ploy for my boyfriend to kind of get the attention off of him onto his brother and the fact that he was doing things wrong. So of course I told her, and they got into a big argument. We're gonna call my boyfriend like Derek or something. Yeah, we're gonna call him Derek. So his brother calls me, and he was flipping out on Derek before that, and he calls me and he says, right hand up to God, Derek is screwing a girl named Sadie at work. I'm literally freaking out on my boyfriend, but I don't know who to believe, because the thing is like, they are always playing pranks on each other. You know, you don't know when they're serious. They'll literally like make these jokes up, you know, say, oh yeah, like she's cheating on you with blah 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 blah, as a joke. Anyways, so what do? I do what any reasonable girlfriend would do. I go into my boyfriend's room and I start screaming at him. And he had been texting his brother, and I told him, I said, let me see your text messages between you and your brother. And before he gives me his phone, he literally swipes over and deletes the conversation between him and his brother. So I went over and I grabbed his computer, which is connected to his phone. Like, the text messages go onto his computer also. So I grab his computer and I look at the text on there. And it still looked like some were missing, but the only thing that it said was, please don't do it. My boyfriend had sent that to his brother. So now I'm obviously very, very sketched out, but my dumbass is still believing him. Love that for me. So because I'm a dumbass, I end up believing my boyfriend, and that night I was just so pissed off. I told him, hey, like, I'm gonna go to my friends tonight. Like, I can't be around you. I need time to think. Well, fast forward, I guess him and his brother stopped fighting, and his brother told me, he was like, yeah, no, I was lying about the whole thing. Like, he didn't do anything. He's very loyal to you. Whatever. But yeah, that was the end of that situation. So we hadn't really talked about it again after that. I was still having like inklings that like he was cheating on me, which were totally correct, and I find out every single time, so I don't even know why he lies to me about it. So yeah, that situation was over and done with. So a month after that whole situation, fall time rolls around. My boyfriend moves out of his parents' house. I couldn't move out yet because I was not 18, and that's whenever him and I started having troubles in our relationship, even more than we did before. He just was not caring about me and how I felt in the relationship. He never wanted to be around me. He would always choose his friends over me. So at that point, I had just had enough and I broke up with him. Did I want to get back with him 2 hours after I broke up with him? Yes. Did I? No. I decided that I was going to be a strong, independent woman at that time. So I decided, why not make a Tinder? Was I underage? Yes. Did I put jailbait in my bio? Yes, I did. So that's that. I pretty much made a Tinder, and I guess literally the day after I made mine, one of Derek's friends decided to tell Derek to make a Tinder also. So he makes a Tinder, and the first person he sees on there is me. So I left school early that day, and I get a text message from Derek saying, you are such a whore. So at that point, I'm like really pissed off. I'm like, I don't care, like, do what you want. Like, sorry that you're angry that I'm deciding to move on. Like, not my fault. By the way, if you ever break up with your boyfriend, get a Tinder. That shit is a confidence boost. You will literally have all these guys telling you that you're so hot, and it's so nice to just reject them. So I guess my bad bitch parade had ended because I got really lonely the one night, and I had texted him asking what he was doing, and he pretty much said nothing. So what did I do? I went to his house, and when I was there, we had talked about things, and I asked him, I said, I want to know the truth about everything. I said, I already know half of what's going on, but I want to know what you meant by that text message. I didn't know anything, by the way. This kid literally just told on himself every single time that he cheated on me. He was literally so freaking dumb. He says there was this girl at work, and I said, what's her name? He told me her real name now, and I said, did you do the nasty with her? And he said, yeah. I said, how many times? And at this time, I'm kind of like holding back my tears because my boyfriend was a sociopath, and if he saw you putting out any emotion, he would base his emotion off of that. So anytime that he cries too, I literally just ignore him because he just does it to make you feel bad instead of actually crying because he feels bad. So I'm sitting there with a straight face, and I'm like, you know, how many times, where, when, like, blah 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 blah. He says, I don't know how many times. And at that point, that already makes me think, oh great, like you were going into work every single day and screwing this girl while you were there. Nice. I slept there that night because it was like, it was too late for me to go home. No, he did not do anything. I literally slept on the couch. He slept in his bedroom because I was not about to do that. But I made him think that I was fine with it. Like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, like, it's in our past. Just promise you'll never hurt me again. So the next day, I wake up and I go to school. I left school early that day. I went home. I went to my dad's house, and I pretty much just stayed home for majority of the day. And that night I had found that girl on Snapchat, which was very stupid of me because I am all about not blaming the girl. Like, before I had such like a nasty mentality of it was the girl's fault, not the guy's, which is totally not the case. So I will never ever go off on a girl if I ever find out that my boyfriend is cheating on me with a girl, because it's just, they're not the one in your committed relationship. So I find this girl on Instagram and I find her on Snapchat, and like I said, I add her on Snapchat, and when I see her Instagram bio is literally, I'm your boyfriend's favorite. Her pictures are all captioned stuff about screwing girls' boyfriends. I didn't know that was a trend, but actually a lot of girls like to do that. I think like a few weeks ago this girl was talking on the phone saying how she loves fucking guys with boyfriends. Love that for you, sis, just not for me. So at that point I'm getting really angry because when I'm looking on all these photos, like her captions are literally just disgusting. And I add her on Snapchat and I text her and I say that, you know, like, you're nasty, you're a whore, blah 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 blah, just like me being any jealous, insecure girlfriend. And I let the emotions get the best of me that night. But it was really funny because like she was talking to me and she was like, it's not my fault your boyfriend wanted to screw me, and you know, it's not my fault that I'm better looking than you, blah 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 blah, just this, that, and the next. So like, I'm really letting this girl get under my skin. Like, I'm like really pissed off. Like, at this point I really wanted to go to this girl's house and just like do some very not nice things. So soon enough I find out that the owner of the restaurant that he was working at, that's his daughter. So I'm ready to literally call their work and be like, your daughter's a whore. Like, she's literally screwing people in your back kitchen and stuff like that where the food is. But instead I just block her on Snapchat because I knew that I was letting my emotions get the best of me. And I sneak out of my dad's house that night and go to my friend's house. Well, when I went to my friend's house, her boyfriend was best friends with my boyfriend. This is not his brother's girlfriend, by the way. This is just one of my best friends. And her boyfriend decides to come clean on some things that my boyfriend had told him. And he's like, yeah, no, like, he always was telling me about how when he would go into work, there would be these girls all over him. He was screwing 2 girls at work every single day whenever he went in there. So at this point, I'm literally livid. Like, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I feel like the worst part about it all was the fact that because I had so many trust issues from him in the past, he was coming home like every night, and like when I would talk to him about how I was feeling, about how, you know, I was having doubts, you know, about him being faithful, he would be like, I don't know why you feel like that. Like, I've been so loyal. Like, I'm actually so proud of myself because I haven't done anything wrong. After that, I call and I tell him that I pretty much know everything, and I found out the reason why everything happened the way it did. So he was going into work early and staying later so he could screw this girl at work, actually these 2 girls at work, and the reason why he did not want me picking him up and dropping him off was because apparently this girl had a plan to come to the car and beat my ass because she wanted my boyfriend. So yeah, pretty much after that everything started making sense and him and I broke up, but my dumb ass got back together with him. So yeah, ladies, if you see red flags and you think he's cheating on you, he probably is, and he's probably dumb enough to tell on himself, so make sure to trick him into telling you. I love you guys so much.
been dating my girlfriend for 7 months. She's amazing and we're super compatible in a lot of ways. She's an outspoken vegan and she made it very clear from the start of our relationship that it was important to her any potential partner had the same cruelty-free values. Me, already being a pescatarian, had little difficulty transitioning to a fully plant-based diet. My girlfriend was proud of me for going cruelty-free and everything seemed well. Then there's my cat Mittens. I've had her for 3 years and I adore her. She's such a sweet and cuddly cat. However, my girlfriend was always a little apprehensive around her and she blamed it on not growing up around cats. After a while, we started making an agreement to mostly hang out at her apartment instead of mine, so Mittens never really came up again in the conversation. Fast forward through all the quarantine stuff. My girlfriend and I have spent a lot of time together during this pandemic and started talking about moving our relationship to the next level. We began seriously looking at either buying a new apartment together or having one of us move in with the other. However, after a lot of talking and planning, my girlfriend sat me down and dropped a bombshell on me. She said that with this next phase of our relationship, she didn't see a future with me unless I was willing to give away Mittens. She said that she believed that owning a cat is unconscionable for vegans because they hunt mice and eat meat, and because the very act of owning a pet is a violation of vegan principles. I was stunned. I told her that I was absolutely not willing to give up Mittens, and she had no choice but to eat meat, so I was reducing harm as much as possible by buying the reputable brands of cat food. Plenty of vegans own cats and think along the same lines. My girlfriend got mad and said, "How much flesh does your cat eat? How many animals died to make all that food? Would you be okay with that being human flesh?" I got mad and told my girlfriend I would have really appreciated her telling me about her cat opinions before we got serious. She went on and on about cats killing animals. Then I went home and snuggled with Mittens. Although the mood soured a bit when my GF sent me a link to the Reddit thread advocating for the extinction of domestic cats. It pains me to think that an otherwise wonderful relationship could be ended because of a difference in ideology. I don't even really understand where my girlfriend is coming from because, like I said, a lot of vegans own cats. Now granted, cat ownership can be a controversial topic in the vegan circles and I probably would not have gotten a cat if I had been vegan at the time. But I have Mittens now and she deserves to eat. I've talked to some of my vegan and vegetarian friends and they all think that my girlfriend has lost her mind. Some have suggested it's not about Mittens and my girlfriend just wants an excuse to end it. They probably don't understand why I haven't broken up yet, but I care about my girlfriend so much. I'd hate for this bizarre curveball to be the end of a beautiful thing. Where do I even go from here? I had a table today with a couple and the husband was introducing his baby mama to his family. He was military and I guess he's been busy on his time away. The couple also had a brand new baby that they were showing off. Nice folks. They were with the dude's mom, sister, and aunt. They ordered a baked chicken nacho to start, which I promptly put in. Mind you, I was captain on a party of 25 and finishing them up and the host told them they may have a few minute wait at the table. They were cool at first. Once the food came out, the complaints started. I checked on them multiple times in passing and nobody asked for anything. They, of freaking course, asked for waters for the table and also each had a beer or mocktail. Nobody asked for refills or to order another. They didn't have a single auto refill drink, but okay, maybe I wasn't being super attentive. Anyway, the mom goes to the front and has a hissy fit and my manager deals with her, but she pulls me aside to say that she was watching me and that she knows I did my best. Even if the food was kind of late behind our party of 25 regulars. She's gonna comp the cheesecake slices and I shouldn't worry about them. I go and drop the discounted check and I hear the Beyonce say, "I'm gonna order cheesecake for all of us and get the whole bill taken care of." The sister and mom both cringe visibly and make eye contact with me. I drop the free $50 of cheesecake and bring the fussy toddler a free milk just to show that I care. The aunt stares at the check and then violently snatches it. I watch the new baby mama die internally. I can only imagine she's been dealing with this effing witch for hours or days and is rapidly approaching her limit. She's dressed like a crunchy hippie mom and is super sweet whenever I come back to the table. She isn't a problem and I imagine she's served before. You'll see why. Not 5 minutes after the $40 check is dropped, my manager finds me and we go to a posy to look at the ring times and such. She wants to make sure I did my best before she sticks up for me. Everything checks out and she decides it isn't worth the trouble and comps the entire bill. They seem satisfied and leave. Finally. On the way out, they called me slow and shiftless and say I should work somewhere else. I laughed in response because F them and I wished them a lovely evening. I knew I wasn't going to get tipped and just start to bust the table once they were out of view. I found a 20 by where the sister was sitting and a crisp 50 in the middle of the table. I'm betting the dude left that. As I finish up, I see the baby mama speaking to the manager who gestures toward me and I walk over. She smashes a crumbled 100 into my hand and whispers, "I'm so sorry, I know you did your best with them." Not gonna lie y'all, I almost cried. I simply nodded and said thanks so much and that I hope to see her and her baby again. She thanked me again and walked off. I imagine the aunt thinks that she did something by scoring free food for everyone, but all she did was alienate her nephew and her sister further. Me and 4 other girls have been best friends since middle school and we're all 17. When we were freshmen, we got matching necklaces that say besties for the resties on them. One of us will say besties and the others will respond for the resties. One of my best friends is named Alexa. She was one of the 4 and she did everything with us. A few weeks ago, out of the blue, she decided she wants to be called Alex and to be a guy now. And also to use he, him pronouns. They're basically a totally different person now. I feel like my best friend has died. None of us even recognize this new person and all of us are kind of in mourning. We've stopped hanging out with them pretty much. It's not the same now. It's really depressing. Today, they tried to get the other 4 of us to do the same. They kept saying besties over and over, trying to get us to do the response, but no one was doing it and it was just a tense, depressing silence. Then they started crying and it made me want to cry. I feel like my best friend is dead and I know the others are very upset too. We won't ever get our friend back. Alexa is dead. We can't go shopping together, can't watch the same movies now, can't have sleepovers, can't get our nails done, can't do each other's hair, can't bake cupcakes now. There's literally nothing left to do together that wouldn't be incredibly uncomfortable. Am I the asshole for being unable to complete the phrase?
Am I the asshole for getting a teacher fired when she wouldn't let my daughter eat in class? My 47 female, daughter 13 female, is type 1 diabetic and sometimes hypoglycemic. Due to this, we set up a 504 that says she can eat a snack in class whenever needed along with other accommodations. At one point, one of her new teachers denies her a snack while hypoglycemic. She nearly passes out, but in the next class she's in, the teacher has enough common sense to let her eat a snack before passing out at school. When she told me, I immediately called the teacher. When she called back, I lectured her and told her that she needed to let my daughter eat a snack when needed. She says it's not allowed, but I tell her that due to my daughter's 504, she's legally required to give my daughter an exception. Am I the asshole for getting a teacher fired when she wouldn't let my daughter eat in class? I said due to my daughter's 504, she's legally required to give my daughter an exception to that rule. Before hanging up, I tell her that if she does this again, I'll contact the principal and let him know. Keep in mind, I also recorded this call on my husband's phone, by the way. A month goes by and the same thing happens again, and I request a meeting with the principal and my husband plays back the call between me and the teacher. I tell him she's done this twice and needs to have a talk with her. Turns out, he actually fired her for ADA violations. I know this because I ran into her at Publix. She told me I got her fired over some stupid snacks and I need to stop raising an entitled brat. I walked away. Am I the asshole for making my daughter-in-law cry? My son and daughter-in-law had their twins last year. They didn't want to put them in daycare and asked me if I could watch them. I've been doing childcare my whole adult life as a nanny, and at the time I had a well-paying nanny job. My son and daughter-in-law couldn't pay me as much, but I didn't mind as they are my grandchildren and I love them. I would do it for free, but I do have bills. I clarified multiple times that this was going to be permanent and I was quitting a good job for this and I didn't want to have to scramble last minute. They swore it would be until they were 3. I had so much fun watching them and they're now 18 months old. I started teaching them colors and ABCs and we also go to playgroups. My son and daughter-in-law told me last week they feel more comfortable with daycare.
I never really saw you coming until you turned me around. I used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh well, no more tears. Oh well, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry.
Am I the asshole for making my daughter-in-law cry? My son and daughter-in-law sat me down last week saying they'd be more comfortable with daycare. After doing research, they feel it would be the best now. In fact, they already found one and gave me 2 weeks notice. I was upset. They promised me 3 years of work and now I have to scramble to find a new job that'll pay as well as my last one. I said all of this and they said it wasn't fair for me to expect them to keep to that. I pointed out what this would do financially to me and they said they had to think of themselves. They're paying the daycare more, but it's worth it. I said I don't know how I'll pay my bills, including my son's student loans that I pay. I left and my son said his wife cried and said I shouldn't have guilted them. He said bringing up the money was manipulative. Am I the asshole for putting my wife on a budget? We got married this past March. I'm 25 and she's 23, and for her, it's been a spending spree ever since. Hundreds at a time on clothes, accessories, makeup, trinkets, interior design, just spending all the time. I make an okay living, and the only reason we aren't underwater is because I don't buy anything. After running up $550 on a coat, I finally decided enough was enough. I made a spreadsheet, explained it to her, and wanted to handle things like adults. She actually acted like she was dozing off. I thought this was fair. She doesn't think the budget benefits us both, and she thinks I'm dominating and constricting her.
A few years ago, I was invited by a group of people that I kind of sort of knew to go see one of my favorite bands play at a club. And I was like, oh, thank you guys, that is so nice. And we drove an hour to get to this club. Once we got there, we realized that like half of our group didn't bring IDs with them, so they couldn't get into the club. And on the outside, I was like, oh no. And on the inside, I was hardcore judging them for being adult people who don't carry IDs with them. And the girls who didn't bring their IDs said, what should we do now? Should we all just go home? And I didn't want to go home after driving that long. And I said, well, we kind of wanted to see the band. Would you guys be cool with maybe like going to see a movie or going to get dinner? And that way we could at least see part of their set and then we could leave early with you guys. And the one Gryffindor in the group interrupted me and she said, no. If they don't get to see the band, then none of us get to see the band. And I was like, this is not the last 20 minutes of a Disney movie. We don't all have to miss the band together. But Gryffindor really stuck to it. She handed the girls the keys and she was like, you guys run home, get your IDs, come back here. I've been sitting crisscross applesauce for a long time and my feet hurt. Okay. So the girls run home to grab their IDs. We had to wait in line at the club for a really long time. We finally get to the front and our friends aren't back yet. And I was like, that's fine. Like, I didn't even think that was going to be a problem. But Gryffindor said to the bouncer, we can't go in yet. We're waiting for our friends. And so the bouncer just had us stand off to the side in the cold. And we just stood outside the venue listening to the band play from the outside. And all I could think was, we have cell phones. This is what cell phones are for, situations like these. And I just like, having friends is too hard. I think I'm too selfish for it.
Am I the asshole for refusing to fire my personal trainer per his wife's request? So I, 43 female, hired my trainer Alex, fake name, in mid-2018 through the gym. I asked for someone who understands chronic pain because I've had it for 20 years and need help managing it. Swimming did wonders until my body began to develop negative reactions to pool chemicals, which was why I switched to the gym. Long story short, Alex helped beyond expectation. He helped me improve so much. A few months ago, my doctor actually switched me to milder pain medication and lowered the doses too. So as a token of appreciation, I gave Alex an early Christmas card last week with a $50 gift card. The message was a simple, "Thank you for your help, best wishes." Today I went for solo training and a woman approached me claiming to be Alex's wife. She accused me of getting friendly with Alex and demanded that I ask the gym to switch trainers. I refused and she got aggressive, so I got the staff involved and they removed her. Later, I told friends about the incident. They say I was disrespectful and should have honored her wishes, though I don't think Alex's wife's insecurity is my problem. I feel bad about possibly getting him into trouble at home. Am I the asshole? Edit to add, many of you mentioned the possibility of a stalker imposter, and now I'm getting the chills. Never even thought of that. I'll give the gym a call first, because if it is a stalker imposter, then she might harass other people too. Since I don't have Alex's private number, I'll ask the gym to give him a heads up. Then I'll talk to him when I see him next. And now in the comments, not the asshole. You were in a place of business. You were using professional services and have done nothing inappropriate. Her issues are between her husband and herself at home. And OP responds, "Thank you. One friend said the card was inappropriate because nobody gives gifts to service people." Her words. I'm having a bit of self-doubt right now. That's ridiculous. This is the time of year to show appreciation for people who provide needed services but don't often get paid well. Your friend is completely off base. This friend sounds snobby. When I worked as a maid, I used to get tips all the time, especially around the holiday season. My mum and grandma used to go to the casino every Christmas Eve to gamble and have a nice dinner together, and my mum would tip the valet like $50 because it was Christmas Eve. Definitely not weird to either tip extra or show appreciation through gifts for service people. Not the asshole. So first up, I'd suggest there is a small but non-zero chance that was not his wife, which would make things even weirder. If it is his wife, then it sounds like their marriage is having issues. You were not the asshole, though it would definitely be worth discussing with Alex and letting him make the call. That's what I suspect too. This girl may not be his wife, but possibly a jealous psycho who thinks Alex is her man. How would she know about the card and who it was from? Because stalkers sometimes actively stalk their target and may have seen it handed to him. Not the asshole. And frankly, I'd tell your trainer about this weird woman going up to you and trying to get him fired. Are you sure that's his wife and not some creepy stalker trying to poop on his life? In any case, whatever is going on between him and his wife is something that should remain under the roof and not sucking in other people, so you're not to blame. And now on to the update. I've got some requests for an update, so here is a quick one. First of all, I didn't get to meet Alex this week. The gym manager informed me on Monday that Alex was taking the whole week off after learning he has a stalker. So my Reddit Sherlocks were right. She is not his wife. They reassured me they will do everything in their capacity to help Alex and make sure Miss Stalker stays banned. I went there twice this week and things are fine so far. Hopefully we'll be able to resume our regular training after the holidays. I've also talked to my friends who called me disrespectful. They changed their stance once they learned she was a stalker, but I said it's really irrelevant. We had some back and forth. It was hard getting my point through until I asked how they would feel if their partner went to their workplace and harassed their co-workers or clients. Some of them apologized, one of them got stubborn and said some not so nice things. I ended up cancelling my holiday plan with them so I can have some time and space to think our friendship over. So that's it. Please know I truly, deeply appreciate all the kind words and support. I was doubting my morals and judgment of character due to the somewhat heated arguments with my friends, but your comments really helped me clear my head. And to my fellow chronic pain patients, my heart goes out to you, and I hope you get all the help you need. Happy holidays, everyone. Love and peace to you all. And now in the comments, yikes, poor Alex. That must be frightening for him to have a stalker. I'm a bit concerned about your friends though. Even if he is married, there is nothing about you engaging in his services for personal training, and your friends only changed their tune when it turned out the woman wasn't his wife, and one, not even then. I wish you happy holidays and continued healing. And OP replies, thank you for your kind words and happy holidays to you too. Good call distancing yourself from these friends, especially the one who said that it was inappropriate to give gifts to service people. It is in fact a very common thing to give a bonus or gift to people who do work for you around the holidays. Their attitude reminds me of the most recent post from the guy whose girlfriend refused to stop walking around semi-nude in front of workers, on the grounds that they weren't actual people who had feelings that should be considered. Quote, one got stubborn and said some not so nice things. I ended up cancelling my holiday plan with them so I can have some time and space to think our friendship over. What could have happened had you quietly just quit your trainer, leaving him ignorant of his stalker? Sounds like your friend's judgment is so flawed that she's a danger to even her friends and family. No big loss there. Some people just hate to be proven wrong no matter what. OP replies, yes, my ex-friend is like this. She hates being called out or corrected. Most of the time we humor her to keep peace, but I made this a hill to die on. Was that the same shitty friend that said no one gives gifts to service people? No, that friend has apologized, though I could tell she didn't really understand. At least she acknowledged that giving gifts to show appreciation is a thing. She also apologized for hurting my feelings when I said that I felt insulted that they assumed I could get inappropriate with Alex. So there's that too. Would I be the asshole if I told someone who invited themselves to my birthday dinner not to come? So I met this person in 2019 in a bar in our hometown. He is a friend of a close friend, and the night we met was a leaving party from his job before he joined the armed forces and left for basic training. He asked me out and we went out on a date. I wasn't feeling it and I gently told him as one of his parents has just passed at the time and I was being mindful of his feelings. I've made it pretty clear now on several different occasions via text, Messenger, Snapchat, WhatsApp. He added me on them all, and if he doesn't get an answer on one app, he will try the next until I reply. He is now on home leave for the holidays for the next few weeks, which falls over my birthday. I had planned a night with my close friends, one of which is the mutual friend that we have in common. He asked me to go to dinner via Snapchat, and the conversation went like this. Him, do you want to grab dinner when I'm home? XX. Me, I don't think that's a good idea. Thanks for the offer though, thumbs up. Him, just as friends, XX. Look, I'm finishing my current job on Thursday next week. I have my birthday dinner on Friday, and start my new job on the Monday, so I don't have much free time I'm afraid. Shrug. Where are you going, XX? Me. Ironically, the name of the bar that we first met in. Him. Aw, is mutual friend going, XX? Me. Yep, pretty sure he said he's coming. Him. Great, I'll see you there. 4X. My response is ... and he says, if that's okay with you, XXX. Well, the table is booked for 6 people, and there's already 6 people going, so there's not any room left for dinner. Thinking emoji. Him. You'll be done by 8:30, so I'll be down then, XXX. I was pretty much stumped and completely missed the trap that I'd just walked into. I'm 100% sure he wouldn't see this as a friendly thing and would spend the night trying to flirt with me, which makes me really uncomfortable. I am not attracted to this person. I hardly know him or speak to him. I never reach out first, but am polite in my replies and rejections, but he's just not gotten the hint and has expressed that I'll change my mind. I know my own mind, and it's made up. He calls me pet names, which, from people I don't know, I absolutely abhor. It makes me want to crawl out of my skin and set it on fire. My question is, would I be the asshole if I told him not to come, or is it too late now, and I'll just have to risk him showing up and making me uncomfortable? This is making me so anxious that it's keeping me up at night, so I'm turning to my favorite subreddit for some help. Now in the comments, you are describing it as a trap because it was. That is predatory behavior and it is not welcome. Be very wary of people who can't take no for a complete answer. Not the asshole. And OP replies, I was unfortunately too stupid to see the trap coming and walked into it head first, thinking it was just a casual conversation. You were not stupid, you were kind. Some people take advantage of that. Exactly, and since he has shown he will not accept kindness, then brutal honesty should be next. Yeah, this needs to be shut down immediately. This guy is aware that she doesn't want to go out with him, he's just taking advantage of her politeness to twist her arm. He has just not gotten the hint. That's the problem, he has gotten it and rejected it. At this point, he's actively stalking and harassing you. You have repeatedly made it clear that you are not interested in him, and he has gone as far as to tell you that you will change your mind, and calling you pet names despite you unequivocally setting boundaries well short of even friendship. This is pathological stalking behavior, trying to create or insinuate a relationship where none exists. If you are comfortable doing so, at this point it is no longer rude but necessary to be absolutely blunt with him. Text him and tell him point blank that you would rather he not be at your dinner or join you and your friends afterwards. Tell him that his behavior is making you extremely uncomfortable, that you have tried to be polite about it, but his refusal to acknowledge your boundaries or request for him to keep his distance is making you feel unsafe, and so you feel that it is necessary to tell him in a way that he cannot misinterpret. Tell him that if he continues to contact you, or invite himself, that you will contact the authorities. If you do not feel comfortable telling him this yourself, and there is nothing wrong with that, this man is stalking you, then ask your mutual friends to tell him. He is not welcome where you are. He makes you uncomfortable, he is not to contact you. You are not the asshole here. He has gone well beyond any reasonable limits. And now back to the post, edit to add. A few people have suggested that I've been saying soft no's to this dude. On each of the 4 occasions he's asked me to hang out one-on-one, I've said a hard no. For example, dinners, a drive, hotel, and a trip to the Christmas markets in another town. I have said I'm not interested in dating anyone, which is absolutely true. I'm at a fantastic place in my career, starting my dream job in 9 days, which I didn't think I'd get before I was 30. I have a fabulous family, brilliant friends, and my pup who's like my doggy daughter. I absolutely have no interest in adding a man to my life. Since this happened, he has found my Tinder profile, which goes unused, sent me a screenshot of my profile picture with a comment of, "Nice profile," which I replied thanks. He then said, "Welcome sugar, XXX. I then called him out and told him it's insulting to call me a pet name and to just stop because he's been told several times not to do it. He was very offended and then asked how I was getting on with Tinder. I just don't want to cause any awkwardness with our mutual friend because he and I are very close. Edit to add 2. Thank you everyone for your comments, advice, and time. I have sent this dude a cease and desist message and been as blunt as I can possibly be. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to change the venue, as getting a table for a large party this close to Christmas was hard in November. It is impossible now. We live in a relatively small town. The nearest city is about 45 minutes away by public transport, and it's a nightmare to get home after midnight. I've also been spiked twice in that city, so it makes me understandably uneasy. I've also had a long conversation with our mutual friend, and he understands that I feel really uncomfortable with his advances and knows to reiterate the uninvitation if this dude reaches out to him. It might not stop him appearing, but if he does, the bouncer and bar staff will be my first port of call, so I can leave early if need be. I'll be pissed off, but at least I have a bailout plan. Below in the comments is the message I've sent him with the assistance of my mum, as I had a panic attack. I'm okay, I have rescue meds if this type of thing happens. Hi, I think you misunderstood last week when I was talking about my birthday. It's just going to be an event with my friends, and I'd rather you didn't attend. I am not interested in dating you or hanging out with you one-on-one, as we are not friends, just acquaintances. You've repeatedly asked me to do things with you when I've repeatedly said no. You've called me pet names when I've said several times that I hate it. It constitutes boundary stomping in my book, and it doesn't sit well with me. I've tried to be nice, but you've not taken the hint, so I've had to be more direct. Good luck in the future. Thumbs up. Edit to add 3. I've received a response about 10 minutes ago which read, "Hey, whatever, I'm seeing someone anyway," and then delete my number. 1. I never saved it in the first place, my dude. 2. If you're seeing someone, why are you asking me to dinner? What the hell? Dude is a field of red flags, and I'm happy it's over with now. Hopefully there won't need to be an update and I can enjoy my birthday in peace. Thank you to everyone who reached out, commented, and awarded. You are all very kind. And now, on to the update. Many thanks to the kind Redditors on my original post who gave me advice. A wee update to let those who wanted to be updated on the outcome of this event. I'm currently writing this from my bed with a hangover that could floor a moose. I had an absolutely fantastic birthday dinner last night with my friends that I invited. The dude did not show up as predicted, thank God, and I've had no further contact from him, so it looks like I'm in the free and clear. The last day in my last post went wonderfully. My colleagues threw me a mini birthday party / leaving party with cake, food, and presents when there was space between patients. Lots of hugs and some tears, but all in all, a great last shift. Dinner last night was brilliant. I felt beautiful after getting my hair and nails done. I took my time doing my makeup and my dress fit perfectly. We went out dancing and drinking afterwards, and although it was bloody Baltic waiting on a taxi home, I got a lovely cuddle from one of my best friends who held my hands the whole way home because I couldn't feel my fingers. Oh aye, it's Baltic out there, so it is. I hope most people know what that is, but Baltic, just freezing? UK people really make up some funny words. I'm tired, hungover, but feel loved and happier than I've been in a long time. I start in critical care on Monday, and I'm ready to smash this challenge. So thank you again, kind internet strangers, because without you, I would have suffered through last night instead of enjoying it. Happy holidays wherever you may be. And now in the comments, thanks for the update, and it's not a proper birthday if you're not hungover. Hope you recover in time for the next one. And OP says, it's nearly a week later, and my liver still hates me. Legendary. Thanks for the updates. That guy is all sorts of a creeper. I'm glad he went sour grapes and not full stalker. Glad you had a good birthday, speedy recovery for that hangover. Just be careful for a bit. His comments about seeing someone else may be him trying to save his ego. OP replies, it very well might have been, as my pal told me on the night out that it only lasted 3 days. I'm glad that this is the update because that dude chasing you for 2 years and then actually listening when you were blunt is not at all how that usually goes. Stay safe, stop being nice. Dude was way out of bounds the first time he added a social for you without your permission. The rest just added to it. I think your previous post mentioned that he's in the military. If he starts harassing you again, you can report him for it and he'll get in serious trouble.